Hello, everybody. My name is Barry Johnson. Welcome back to another edition of Studio Talk. This thing called Loudness Wars. What is it? Why is it so important? Does it even matter? Let's get to it. Okay. So, Loudness Wars. I have to imagine, especially if you're already watching this video, you probably just passed on because, oh no, another video about the Loudness Wars. I've watched too many already. Maybe that's you. I don't know. But that what we hear about the Loudness War, I'll be honest with you, as far as the length of my journey being quite a few decades, is more of a recent phenomenon. Okay. That is not something for the vast majority of the time that we've ever really ever focused on. Now, it seems like everyone is freaking up, or at least for a while, maybe not as much right now, but for a while, everyone seemed to be obsessed about it. Not just home project students, probably home project students even more than anybody because they didn't understand how to achieve it. Okay. And still retain some sonic clarity. Okay. Most people just overcompress the living daylights out of their music and you can't hear anything. Okay. But anyway, it went crazy with the whole professional market and, in the major studio market and all of that. And so, um, the problem with the question is, are the Loudness Wars finally over? Because the predictions were this cannot last forever. We cannot continue to destroy the fidelity of our music, destroy the transience in our music by being so obsessed that when we play that song in our car or on our iPod or wherever we're listening to that crap, not crap, but stuff. Okay. The music. Okay. Wherever we're listening to it, that we're, it's got to be loud, loud, loud. I want it to tear the inner linings of my car doors and ceiling and all that. I want it to rip the whole thing down because there's so much vibration. It's so loud. I guess the vibration is more the low end on it, but so and so one of the things that stands out, okay, it's very easy to tell the difference and understand why some people may say, wow, I don't care what anybody says. Music today and the sound of music today is vastly better from a listen. The music, I'm not talking about the music, the recording, the mastering, the finished product, the overall tonality of it. A lot of people think today is way better. So all you got to do is go back, play a song from, let's say a rock song from the 70s. Okay. Then play something from the 80s and then the 90s, and then start get into the 2015 and on and start playing that. And so play it back to back. A perfect example of that would be take I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on a perfect example, but I should be able to give a gazillion of them. But if you've ever listened to that, when you go back and listen to those songs, I'm going to take a Whitesnake song. Okay. Why I pulled that out, I have no idea. Probably because I was listening to Here We Go Again or something that I have on my phone. And all of a sudden I listened to something the last few years and I'm like, holy crap, man, the last few years is way louder. I mean, the other one sounds like it's just like in the distance, way back and back and back in there. And so what has happened with the Loudness Wars is, yes, people like louder music because that's what radio stations did for the longest time. Not only making it louder, but adding some enhancement to the mastered song when they play it over the radio. That's why a song, at least back in, not that long ago, I don't know if it's much today, but back then, I'm talking 10 years ago. Okay. I'm not talking about back in the 70s or 80s. Okay. I'm talking about just recently that, that when you play that music, that what they do is it doesn't sound the same when you've got it on your phone and you play it, or maybe you got it on a CD or wherever you've got it and you play it in your car. And then all of a sudden you just stop listening to it and you flip over in the radio and that same song's on the radio and it sounds 10 times better on the radio than it did in the car. Okay. So my opinion, I think that's where a lot of this started. And then people got ideas and built upon it. I have no idea if that's factually correct or not. And it really doesn't really matter. Sometimes that's just the kind of crap I think about. All right. So it's obvious, right? Music is way loud. The finished mastered product is way louder today than it was in the past. Actually, the majority of modern day recording history. Okay. So like I said, it's a recent phenomenon, right? And so a lot of people, all the pros and everything, you got these guys complaining about the loudness wars because they understood what that did to the music, more so than hardly anybody at home really understood that. I mean, conceptually they did, but they weren't personally ingrained in the experience of experiencing it. And so not in the way that these other guys were. And so ultimately, you'd start reading these articles. The loudness wars, please let the loudness wars be over. None of the professional, at least the more established modern day engineers slash producers, wanted to have anything to do with it because they felt like it was destroying the integrity of the song. And it does. I'm going to tell you, it does. Okay. But I think, are the loudness wars over? No, they're here to stay forever. We're never going, this is my opinion, we're never going to get away from the loudness wars. Now, you can choose to, but I'm talking about what the expectation of Apple Music, Spotify, all the various platforms out there. Hardly anybody thinks about producing CDs anymore unless it's your local market. Mostly it's iTunes, Spotify, and that kind of stuff. Amazon Music, whatever it may be. And so they're going to reject it if it's not a certain volume level. Okay. So we're not going to be able to get away from this. We're just not, it's never going to change, even though a lot of your experienced guys, players out there who could clearly sit and show you and demonstrate to you why it was a problem or why it affected the audio negatively. At the end of the day, we've all gotten used to it, including me. Okay. Now, I don't like it, but it's here to stay, and we're not going to change that, at least certainly for the foreseeable future. All right. So loudness wars are here to stay, in my opinion. I don't think they're ever going to go away. We're never going to go back to where most modern day popular music is being released with the sonic footprints that the majority over time of recorded music has given us, regardless of how great and amazing those songs were back then. And even considering how great those recordings were, considering back then, they didn't have the gear that we have today, right? They had the consoles, but some of that stuff they didn't have as much, especially microphones and things like that. I'm talking about everybody. Of course, the major guys did, but um, so so what does that mean for you, and what does that mean for me? That means it's here to stay. So we've got to learn to be able to get the best product we can without destroying the music. So unless you can wrap your head around the fact that grossly over compressed music is killing your transients and just taking away the dynamics of the music that you're recording, that you're engineering, if you're not come to terms with that and say, yes, that's happening, then you're wasting your time trying to fix it, because you have to acknowledge that exists. Otherwise, you're going to continue to fall back into the same old cycles and doing the same old thing over and over and over. If there's any one particular piece of audio manipulation that happens by home project studio engineers, that is the gross abuse of compression. People have abused it, or have and are continuing to abuse it in ways because they simply don't understand it. Okay. So my recommendation to all of you, knowing and if we're all going to concede that the loudness wars are here, how can we creatively be able to get that achieved without, or minimizing, taking the collateral damage away, because you're going to have some of it. There's no avoiding that. Okay. Minimize the collateral damage of your transients, and the percussiveness and all of those things, which is basically the life of the song. Okay. Totally just squashing that out, you know? So you've got to find that balance. And oftentimes that's a process of doing layers of compression, doing mild compression over mild compression over mild compression. So you're compressing what's compressed. Okay. And there's a ton of videos out there on YouTube, great ones out there demonstrating how to do this. Right. And I encourage you to do your own research and go out and look, so think about the loudness wars. Think about how you're going to be able to get that desired end result that most listeners have, and certainly without a doubt, all streaming services require that certain level of output out of your finished mastered product. Okay. Try to work hard, hard, hard on figuring out what tools make the most sense for you and your budget. Because I could simply just give you advice and tell you what to do, but what I may do, you may not be able to afford to do to get the results that I may get. Okay. And so everybody's at different levels, everybody's got different tools, and everybody has a different end goal objective, in mind. Okay. So, um, so really learn to work hard. Too many of you out there just get yourself surrounded by 5 bazillion plugins and you have no freaking idea why you're using one compressor over the other. You're just going in and using presets and all that garbage instead of learning how it works to achieve that goal. Look, if you want to get good at this, there's as much classroom time as there is on the job time. It's hard to put something in practice that you haven't at least learned the concept behind, right? And so you should be on a quest to constantly be broaden your skill set, broaden your horizons, broaden your experience so that every day you're doing it better than you were the day before. Even if it's just a tiny itty bitty bit, you want to be that type of person. Okay. Because if you've got this bug, and let's face it, this is a bug. This is something very few of us can ever walk away from. Like I said, I got 5 kids. I've got a reasonably successful career. Okay. I'm not a rich guy, but a reasonably successful career that's afforded me to be able to do all this stuff. Okay. And so what comes with that is an understanding that if I'm going to pursue this, because obviously if I'm still doing that at this stage of my life, I'm obsessed with it. I'm passionate about it. So if I'm going to be that person, if you're going to be that person, then be that person. Okay. Be that person. Learn as much as you can. I know this is going beyond the scope of Loudness Wars. This definitely applies to the properly using the right tools to achieve that end result while still retaining as much musicality to your recording as you possibly can. Requires learning, 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 putting into practice, making mistakes, learning from those mistakes, and doing it over and over and over until you get what you feel is right. Okay. So the bottom line, are the Loudness Wars over? No. Are the Loudness Wars likely to ever end? In my opinion, no. I don't think there's any going back from that. It is what it is. In my opinion, just give up on this notion of the past and quit trying to live in the past, regardless if the past was better. And in many conversations, depending on what the conversation about the past is better. It certainly is for me. When I was growing up as a child, the world was a much better place than it is today. But regardless, if you're growing up today, you don't know that. And you don't know what the difference is. You can't relate to what I just said. But you got to be able to put your life's journey, your life's experiences into practice. So be obsessed about it. Learn every day. Learn how to make the best music you can sonically. I'm talking about from a recording engineer perspective. Sonically, and certainly without a doubt, you want to hone your skills on your production skills, producing the music. A lot of people like to interchange this word producer and recording engineer, and so many people have gotten that wrong. You're a producer if you're guiding the band. Very few, if any, producers have anything whatsoever to do. I'm talking about at the professional level, whatsoever to do with the physical, mechanical, hands-on engineering recording aspect of it. That's typically done by a recording engineer, right? So anyway, I got sidetracked again. So anyway, go back, check out some other videos. I got a lot out there for you to peruse. And is that even a word? Did I just make that word up? Peruse, I think is the word, not peruse. Okay, I'm an idiot. All right. So, and I know it. It's fine. You're like, okay, wait a minute. We're taking advice from an idiot. Okay, whatever. Yeah, you are, I guess. So anyway, go back and look at some of those videos. I encourage you, please go down, leave some comments. Tell me what you think. Let's all talk about this, okay? But certainly hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification bell so that you know when I got a new video. And it really, really, really helps me, okay? And I would like to think it can help you too. If you want to see this ugly mug on the other side of your phone, TV, computer, I don't know what you're watching this on, okay? Then do that for me, okay? But until next time, I hope every one of you have a great freaking day, all right? See you later.